In today's world, older adults face major transitions like downsizing, relocating, or modifying their homes to age in place, all while embracing life after these changes. As a senior home advisor and seasoned realtor, Robin McCoy guides these decisions with care and thoughtful planning, helping create a vibrant future. Welcome to Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60 with me, your host, Robin McCoy. Once again, we're going to talk about the things that people don't always want to talk about, but yet is so vitally important. We're talking about wills, trusts, and more specifically, probate and the probate process and what happens after you pass away and what the process is for your heirs, beneficiaries, etc. Now, today's guest is Marc Harris. He is an attorney and CEO of ProbateCash and has over 25 years experience in the specialty financing industry. He is a recognized voice in the probate field and is a member of the Florida Bar's Real Property, Probate, and Trust Law section. And we are going to talk about what does one do with an estate after the person is deceased and now it has to go through probate. If they don't have a will, even if they do have a will and or a trust, what happens with the estate and how can the beneficiaries and executors of those estates manage the process? So you don't want to miss this one. You're going to learn something. So let's welcome Marc Harris to Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. So How did you end up where you are? So let's give us, you're an attorney, you're CEO of ProbateCash. Kind of talk a little bit about, how you ended up there and what ProbateCash is so that we can then explain why you're there, why you exist.
Sure. So my background is for really almost 3 decades, which is hard to believe, but that's the case. And I guess everybody on your show probably feel the same way.
Yes.
So I have been in jobs, general counsel, working in industries where we've identified areas where people are entitled to future cash flows, but they can't access those cash flows. And so in the businesses I've been in, we have been a company that will provide upfront cash today at a discounted present value, and then we'll wait for the money to come to us when it would otherwise be due to you. And so that's been in the form of when people won the lottery, the Texas lottery. If you won that, it was going to be paid to you over 25 years. You had no choice to take a lump sum. And so there's a law, there still is a law in Texas, and we go to court in Austin, Texas, and have the lottery commission pay us the future cash flows, and we would pay a discounted value to the lottery winner in a lump sum. So all sorts of different cash flows like that, like all future receivables. I've had friends who are, a lot of them are lawyers, and knowing what business I'm in, some of those lawyers do probate law, and they represent an estate. So when someone passes away, you've probably heard that your debts don't pass away with you.
Sadly, no.
No. So this entire
death and taxes and all your bills and all that.
So that's the other thing. And I know we started off by saying it's not a topic that a lot of people want to discuss, but it's going to happen. So you might as well, have to embrace it. But you got to face it. Right. You got to face it, if not embrace it. And it's remarkable to me because you have people who are great family folks. They've created a good life for their children and grandchildren, their spouse, and then they drop the ball for end of life. And it's common, I get it. People don't want to face that part of it, but you're doing an injustice to your loved ones, so the people you exactly don't want to do an injustice.
Well, and everything you've built, right? And the things that you were doing all that for, you're I don't know the right word, but you like you just said, you built a good life. You left a legacy, or attempted to leave a legacy. And then you drop that one ball and it can destroy everything you worked your life for.
Correct. And your estate planning, which is completing a will or even having a trust. It depends on, a lot of it depends on the assets. The more assets you have, hopefully you've already seeked out estate planning, and that estate planning includes end of life. But once you're dead, this may shock people, but you're unable to tell people how you want your money to be spent. So,
Yeah, there's a, pardon me, there's a drop dead date to that.
yeah, yeah, unintended. And so, yeah, the will is the instrument that, or a trust. Most people just have a will, and that is the document that enables you to make sure that your assets are going to the people that you want it to go to, and even be used for the reasons that you want it to be used for. And those are very important documents. And if you don't have
Yeah.
a will, then you're leaving it up to your state law. So in Texas, good luck. It's going to be done. And there are laws in place.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just. But if you meant for somebody not to get money and they fall in the line of succession, that person's going to get it. And
Case in point, I had a client. She passed away without a will. She had, let's see, three brothers and a sister, heirs. One of them she didn't want to get anything because he's sitting in a prison, life sentence. But he got a third. He got his third.
yeah,
Or his fourth or whatever the number was. He got it because there was no will, and so it dropped into his account in state prison.
absolutely.
So
Yep.
they're going to get their money. Now, I did a quick search, and I just did a quick Google search to ask what percentage of U.S. citizens have a will or a trust. And it is 30 to 40% is what the Google gave me. So when you think about that, somewhere around a third of U.S. citizens have a plan. That's not very many. It's not enough.
And I think a lot of that may have to do with, okay, what are my assets? So a whole bunch of people, here is our common customer. Our common customer is somebody in Texas or anywhere. We do business nationwide, but we'll go with Texas right now, who mom and dad bought a house in the 80s and they paid $150,000 for that house.
Right.
Mom and dad are just blue collar workers, living mostly paycheck to paycheck, a little bit of money put aside, but not much, not a lot of assets, but mainly the house is the asset. And so that line of thinking, you'd say, well, I don't need a will. I don't have anything fancy. I don't own stocks. I don't own any companies. That's it. I just have this house. Well,
Right.
the house is a major asset, and for most people, it's the biggest asset they possess, they own. And if you pass away without any plans with that house, first of all, it'll go, as we said, intestate, if you don't have a will.
Yep.
And so it'll likely be sold, and all of the people in line of succession under the Texas intestate laws will receive a portion of the purchase price of that house. Even if you have a will and you have beneficiaries, part of what our business is about is beneficiaries are mostly unfamiliar with the probate process as well. So even if you're being responsible and you say, all right, I'm going to go to an attorney, I'm going to get a will and leave everything to my kids, which most people do, it's important to share that with your kids. And it's important to share what that probate process is. What is it going to be like after I pass away, right? So, all right, there'll be a funeral and we'll all have ice cream and tell good stories afterward. Maybe.
But then what?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then what?
Yeah, but then what? And then what is important? People don't want to talk about money, but you know what? The beneficiaries need money. And if suddenly they were expecting, a lot of people just think when someone passes away, what do I see in movies? We go to the attorney's office, they read the will, I get the car, here are the keys, someone else gets a little bit of money out of a bank account, here's a check, and we all share the house. That's not how it works. There's like this whole process because probate is there to make sure that your creditors are able to make a claim. So as I said, since your debts don't die with you, creditors have an opportunity. So that could be health care, that could be virtually anybody who you owed money to before you died can make a claim against your estate. And then those assets in the estate that are left, if the judge approves that claim, that would go to satisfy those claims before being paid out to beneficiaries. So if you have that house, then also people don't realize, well, a lot of people find out about probate after mom and dad pass away. They go to the bank to try to get the money out of the account, or they actually try to call a realtor to list the house. And the
Yeah.
first conversation is, well, can I see that you have authority to take money out of mom's bank account? Do you have authority to list this house? It doesn't belong to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Even though mom's dead and you're the only child and there are no other heirs, it still doesn't belong to you yet.
That's correct. And so, but how do I get it to belong to me? Well, that's
Right.
the probate process. And
Right.
you're going to have to open up a probate case, and that's where somebody is then appointed. So even if you're the only beneficiary, you still have to be appointed as somebody, we call it the personal representative or the executor of the estate. And that person then has legal authority to act on behalf of the estate. And you have to become a personal representative. The court has to appoint you as personal representative, and so you have to petition the court and say, I'm the only person. I'm going to be the personal representative. The court will say, okay, nobody else has objected. That's fine. Sometimes siblings object, if, as
You're right.
I'm sure some of your listeners, everything's not all hunky dory,
Right.
whatever.
Hunky dory, rainbows and unicorns, all that
Right.
stuff. It's not always so perfect as we might like it to be.
Right. I mean, if you have one kid who's a Cowboys fan and another who's an Eagles fan, I mean, how could they possibly get along? So,
Not possible.
yeah.
Well, let's talk about probate for a second because you wait that you say this and then we got to go to got to open the probate court. A judge is going to do this and that. It's important to understand that this isn't an overnight thing. And even if you have a will, it can take time. If you don't have a will, it can take months. And the more assets you have, the longer it's going to take.
Yes. So if it's absolutely clean, in other words, nobody objecting, no creditors filing claims, no issues whatsoever, you're still talking about many months. And in Texas, there are two different kinds of a probate process. There's a independent probate process, which has little court supervision, and then there is a supervised probate, which does have judicial supervision. You still have to become a personal representative, though. You still need to get what's called your letters testamentary before you can become the executor. So where people get into if your beneficiaries don't understand the probate process and that it can take many, many months and often over a year and then some, your beneficiaries may not be financially prepared to handle their
Right.
life. And
Right.
that's where our company comes in. Our company has seen that there's a void there. And that's where, with my background, I've had a bunch of my friends and people around the country who are probate attorneys. The probate attorney represents the estate of deceased person, the estate of mom, the estate of dad. But there are usually more than one beneficiary to that estate. So there's
Right.
often, three. Usually, the average is about three beneficiaries to an estate, um, or about that. As you can think, like what are the average number
Sure.
of kids, and like it's
Right.
just common. So you could have competing people, as I said, trying to become the personal representative and control the estate. But so at that point, whomever's going to be the personal representative and gets their letters will be the legal entity of the estate. All this is taking time. And if the beneficiaries aren't aware of this, they may not be planning financially. So if you thought, okay, I know how much money I'm making right now in my family, but now that mom's passed away, I know that there is about $100,000 in the bank account that will be split up between the families. And now that she's passed away, I should be getting roughly 33,000 of that, splitting it with my other two siblings. No, not yet, because the bank is not going to release that money to anybody until they have the letters testamentary, until they're executor, and even then, they're not going to. The money can't be distributed to the beneficiaries because the creditors, those pesky creditors, still get to make a claim. And there's a whole period of time that they have
Yeah.
to make a claim and then a court to rule on that claim. And so the estate assets don't go to the beneficiaries until that part of the process has been completed. So again, that takes time. And so what we see where our business comes in is beneficiaries come to us and say, wow, we had no idea how long this is. I thought we were going to have money. I have a business that I wanted to invest in, or I really wanted to fix up mom's house to sell it. Because if I put $20,000 of money into this, I can get $100,000 more out of the purchase price. And we want to make sure we get a good price. And that's when people come to us and we make an advance to them today, and we get paid back when the assets are finally distributed. So, but there's a cost to that, and
Sure.
and sometimes that can't be avoided, and people need our services. They need money. They can't qualify for a loan, a traditional loan from a bank, or they cannot wait for the amount of time to get approved. And our advances are not loans, so if people don't have credit, that's okay. We're just advancing against some portion of the inheritance that we think you'll be entitled to receive.
So
Uh,
do you become a claimant to that estate then? Is
that's
that
a so go ahead. Yeah, that's a great question.
yeah. Okay. So
And
because I mean, are you like getting in line to with the creditors on
yeah,
that?
and we are not. And
Okay.
so we are not a creditor to the estate. We stay in contract just with the beneficiary who we advanced money to and they assigned the inheritance. And so these are called non-recourse advances.
Okay.
So what that means is unlike a loan requires collateral. It requires usually a credit check. It requires payments, like repayment on certain
Right.
dates. And if you miss those payments, penalties can apply, and your collateral could be foreclosed upon. You could lose
Yeah.
whatever that collateral is if you don't make payment. And really, when you're receiving money from an inheritance, we just discussed the uncertainty that is associated with it. So you have potential claims from the creditors. You have potential infighting. You have some one of your siblings suddenly shows up with a will that says that that sibling's entitled to the entire inheritance, and mom and dad never loved you. So you have a whole bunch of stuff that comes out. And because our advances are non-recourse, if one of those were really true, or if a creditor claim like Medicare or a hospital claim actually wiped out the inheritance because mom was in a hospital for 6 months before passing away, those health care costs are often paid, whatever insurance doesn't cover. And that can also be a claim. And if the claim wipes out your inheritance, well, you don't have to pay us back.
Okay.
We only will file a lawsuit in the event somebody's trying to steal from us. But we
Sure.
understand the uncertainty of probate, and we take those risks. So, talking to your listeners who need to prepare for end of life, and you should do it when you're healthy. I mean, that's the best time to
Yes.
prepare.
Yes. Because you can still make all your own choices.
You can make all your own choices, and even if you're unhealthy physically, but you still have a good head on your shoulders, you're probably not thinking straight, and you're depressed. Of course, it's not the best of times. You want to be able to go visit an attorney, talk about what your plans are for after death, and what you want for your beneficiaries, and then go enjoy a nice lunch or vacation. That's
Exactly. Just get it
uh,
all lined up.
yeah.
Well, because I think, one of the things, like my mother, when I was just getting a will for her, and she was older, and she goes, but Robin, I don't have anything, right? She didn't own any real property. She had a really old car, but she had bank accounts, and and I said, this will make it easier for us if we could just get a will today. But I think that is, people don't understand that how difficult it is once somebody passes away to do this. And like you said, you want to do it while you still can,
Yeah.
right? Because you're, again, I mean, I don't know what percentage of an estate is your fee. I mean, is it an average of a third? Is it fifth? I mean, if somebody is I guess, I don't know what I'm trying to ask you. I mean, I'm not going to
Our
ask you how
fees
much
are
you
how much would it be to
charge,
go
but
talk to an attorney to get a will done.
yeah.
Um, so to talk to an attorney to get your will done is probably not a lot of money.
No.
When I say not a lot of money, probably not more than $5,000, and I'm sure it's probably less, depending upon your assets. If you have sophisticated estates,
Yeah.
then with a whole bunch of different assets, that's going to be more, but presumably you have a lot more to protect, and you're prepared for those costs.
Yeah. Are you 62 or older and considering buying a home? It's important to explore all the opportunities available to you. I want to introduce you to Alicia Dutton with Mutual of Omaha Reverse Mortgage. Since 2013, Alicia has been dedicated to helping baby boomers unlock the benefits of reverse mortgages and reverse for purchase programs. Whether you are looking to stay in your current home or right size into a new one, Alicia provides personalized attention to meet your unique needs and timeline. She is a trusted resource for financial advisors, realtors, and loan officers, and has been a guest on this podcast. She is ensuring you are educated and empowered every step of the way. Discover the possibilities with Alicia Dutton today.
So if you have a will, it doesn't mean you get to avoid probate, by the way.
Right.
You
And
still,
yeah, I mean, in Texas, if you have a will, it's still getting probated. Now, I don't know
correct.
if a lot of people don't think that. They think,
Yeah.
oh, I don't have to go to probate because I've got a will. Not true.
So one thing when you're starting to discuss your end of life plans and your will, unless you have some kind of secrets, I also think it's important uh, to include your beneficiaries with even meeting with an attorney in the will. So, I mean, there's really shouldn't be anything to hide. I mean, if
Right.
you've done everything right so far in your family, this isn't a big secret. This is, in fact, the more your beneficiaries know, the better it is. Like number one, who's the attorney who wrote the will? Number two, where is the will? How do I access that will? Because that's a pain. Like
Yeah.
if it's in your security box at the bank, who's going to access that after you die? So that
Yeah.
becomes a problem. So we need to have direction of where the will is, and then from there, okay, the house is probably going to be sold if there are multiple beneficiaries. No one's going to be living in the house, and if someone's going to live in the house, well, then the other beneficiaries are entitled to what they would have received had the house been sold. Um, and it should be fair market value. Same thing with the bank accounts and other assets that may be owned, other land that may be owned. So whether it's in Texas, out of Texas, and the memorabilia. What about all the Roger Staubach and Tom Landry stuff that's in your closet that's been gathering dust, and you've been trying to show the grandchildren who you know hardly ever remember the last time the Cowboys won a football game. So. Um, that's you really want to get your beneficiaries involved, and you want to definitely say so when you say like your mom doesn't really have any assets, my guess is if you really went around the house, there may not be a lot of assets worth a whole bunch of money on the auction block. But this is how siblings really get into arguments. They say, no, that vase was mine. That picture frame. That it's like
Mm-hmm.
people are talk about divorce. And my wife is a family law attorney. It's all she does is divorces. So
Oy.
it's the good news is I look good in comparison to a lot of her clients and other folks. So the, the secret to
You
a
guys
long
must have
marriage.
interesting
Yeah,
stories over Thanksgiving
yeah.
dinner.
We
Oh,
try not to
I
talk
had this.
about it, but I mean,
Yeah.
I can say the secret to a long, prosperous marriage is to have a very low bar, and so I've done that for myself. Uh, and but probate is kind of like the cousin of divorce, a divorce
Yeah.
law, because you have siblings who are suddenly now fighting over whatever it may be. A will clears all that up for you. A will just
Yeah.
says, okay, the baseball cards are going to this person, the pottery's going to that person, and the car's going to be sold and it's going to be split up. Just make it very clear so there's no
Yeah.
arguing. And so that's important. And the beneficiaries, if you have a good relationship, should be involved, and that makes the whole process seamless.
Then
Um,
there's no surprises when it all comes down to it and we find the will, in the bottom of the closet and we call the attorney and say mom died and then now there's all these, like you said, yeah, but the yeah buts. Yeah, but mom said I could have the car. Yeah, but mom said I could move into the house. Yeah, but, and this takes that away. And now nobody's fighting, and the process can just happen.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, I'm going to write that down. Yeah, buts. Yeah, buts are
The yeah
really
buts.
dangerous and that's why we have, as an attorney, that's why there are contracts. People say words are cheap, and I say, well, if words are cheap, use them. It's really important to use those words because it
Yeah.
just clarifies everybody's intent. And so like you can't sell property on a verbal contract. It's got to
Mm-mm.
be everything has to be in writing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you're in real estate, and you never think of it any other way. You cannot have anything vague when it comes to selling property. It has to be very clear and specific
Yeah.
what is going on. And you want that for your family. And the other part of it is not just the assets, but this is where our company comes in, is the beneficiaries should know a little bit about the probate process itself. And so expectations are everything. And I think it's really important that in my business with customers, any lawyer that's got a client, realtors, you've got to be able to manage expectations, right? If you're sitting there advertising that, oh, we can sell your house in 24 hours, well, maybe you can, but maybe that's to a cash buyer who will pay 200,000 under fair market value.
Right. Right.
What are the real expectations? Because otherwise, you're going to have very unhappy clients. Because as we see it now, the market is turning, um,
Hmm.
and the future is a little weird right now. So what is that going to mean? And if your clients have expectations that they're going to be able to sell the house and get top dollar and get it within a week, yeah, well, if that's their expectations, that's fine if it happens, but maybe that's not so realistic. And I
And
like to,
chances are, if it's not realistic, and they're going to get angry at somebody, and it's
yes,
probably you, the realtor, the
it will be
attorney,
you, the
the
realtor, and that's where we can help out. And so
yeah.
if that, not just because of expectations, but not because you've misled them, but because when the probate, usually, as we said, the house is the main asset to be sold. And so realtors are looking to get the listings from the probate. A lot of realtors specialize in selling homes that are owned by an
Hmm.
estate. Um, because people are now learning, people, I say beneficiaries of estates are learning that it's going to take a while before they get the house sold or before they actually see their inheritance. It's good that realtors know that companies that probate cash exist because
Hmm.
probate cash can provide some upfront money to those beneficiaries while you're trying to get top dollar for the house. Or even for to get the listing to say, I know you thought you were going to get this house sold right away, but I know a place that can provide you with some money right now, while we're waiting to sell the house, or while we're gonna make some improvements to the house, because these we're a resource that people who don't otherwise have an ability to obtain cash, we can help. That's
Yeah.
our sweet spot. So beneficiaries who don't know the probate process are the ones who are going to get burned. If you sat there
Yeah.
thinking, all right, mom passed away, the funeral was last week, now I'm going to the bank account to get my money and sell the house, and you're learning there for the first time that there's this, not only can I not get money, but I have to open up a probate case, which is going to cost me a few $1,000s,
Yeah.
$5,000, and I don't have that money. How do I open up the probate case? Those beneficiaries are going to be shell shocked. They're going to wonder,
Yeah.
why, mom, dad, you didn't tell me this. This is really bad, and I need money now. And that's the void. So how did I get
Yeah.
into this? I had probate. My friends who are probate lawyers said, I'm always getting calls from other beneficiaries. I just represent the estate. I only really communicate with the personal representative of the estate. But their siblings are calling me all the time. Why is this not over with? Why don't I have my inheritance yet? I need money now. Why is it taking so long? Hurry up, hurry up. And they don't understand. First of all, I don't represent
Yeah.
them. And second is this is the probate process. It's not like I'm trying to delay this. It takes time to get a court date. It takes time to go through the process. It takes time for creditor claims. All this takes time. And meanwhile, the other beneficiaries are yelling at the estate attorney and yelling at their sibling who's the personal representative.
Well, so an estate attorney friend of mine here in Texas told me that, she says, so you guys realize you recognize how many people are moving to the DFW area, right? Lots and lots of people are moving here. And she said that means more and more people are actually dying here as well. So that just increases the probate, the numbers of probate cases that are going on. She said the number of probate courts in Dallas, Denton, and Tarrant counties has not increased. All the people are coming, so more people are dying, but the courts themselves have not expanded to accommodate those numbers. So that is just showing how it can take that much longer for something to go through probate and why it takes so long. Even for a simple mom and dad's house that they lived in for 40 years, it's paid off, even for those probate cases can take forever.
You're at the mercy of the court schedule. And to give you an example, I mean, we do business throughout the country. In New York, we still have advances out to people from 2020, the year 2020.
Wow.
Now,
wow.
COVID came, of course, and slowed everything down. But in New York, where everything is kind of on steroids as far as being slow and the courts being stopped up, it is amazing. And it's not because of necessarily anything adversarial going on. It is absolutely just a scheduling issue.
And so it's backlog.
Backlog 5 years out, and so we do a whole bunch of business in Los Angeles. You have similar stories there. Dallas, as you said, a major metropolitan area encompassing a few different counties in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You are going to have those same issues. Harris County in Houston also has similar issues. It's one of the most populated counties in the country, Harris County. It's as I said, death is going to happen. It's best to confront it. It's best to prepare for it, and it's best to share and prepare with your beneficiaries. Let them know right away what the process is. Make sure that they're not counting on you on getting money out of that bank account tomorrow. Because otherwise they're going to be calling us. And look, we do about 100 transactions a month throughout the country of these. So
you're busy.
We're busy, which is, it's not great for the beneficiaries to need our services, but our services are incredibly important when we're expecting an inheritance for everything from the basic necessities like paying rent or putting food on the table, paying school tuition. We're just counting on that money, missed opportunities. And then also getting estate assets prepared for sale. I mean, those are real life reasons. There's tax bills to the house that we come in and help satisfy, HOA dues, all sorts of things that people don't think about until until it's too late to do anything about it. And that's
carrying costs of an asset, just even like you said, HOA, insurance, all these things, these carrying costs of a property can be insurmountable, right? When just because mom and dad had this great house doesn't mean I can afford the carrying costs for it, but now they're gone and I can't access the funds to take care of that. And now I'm responsible for, another $1,000 a month in HOAs. I've got to keep the house insured because if a tree falls on it, then what do I do? There's just
landscape,
all these things that people,
utility bills,
it's just you don't think
on.
about it, right? You don't think about some of those things. You have to have the heat on. We're in Texas, and it can get real cold for about 2 weeks, and that can cause havoc on a house that's not there, that nobody's living in.
Not everybody can afford to go run to the islands during a winter storm.
Exactly. So, Mark, tell everybody a little bit about how they can get in touch with you. When might be a good time to call you if they feel like they need you? Kind of tell us about that a little bit.
Sure. So if you're in a situation where mom and dad have passed away and you haven't had the benefit of the conversations that we're talking about now, so first of all, we only do business after the person has passed away. So this is
Okay.
not an anticipation of mom passing away. She's going to pass away. I need money for funeral costs. That's not what we do. This
Okay.
is after mom has passed away. The earliest we'll get involved is when a probate case needs to be opened up. And so we
Okay.
will help out and advance somebody money to pay attorney's fees to open up the probate case. So we'll do that as long as there's a house that's going to be sold. That's what we're really looking at is real property. It's going to be sold for number one, nobody needs to live there. Number two, nobody can afford to live there. Number three, it's to sell the property so we can split the assets between the beneficiaries.
Okay.
Um, so that's where we come in and we'll make an advance and say, all right, we'll provide you with $20,000 today. We'll provide you with as little as $5,000 today, and we can do multiple advances.
Okay.
So that sometimes is necessary. We've made advances as high as $500,000. So depending upon the circumstances. So if you
Okay.
need money, remember it's not a loan. You don't have to be nervous if you don't have good credit. That's okay. We don't have loan applications. We're not doing credit reports. We're not looking for collateral. And so our website is probatecash.com,
Okay.
www.probatecash.com, all one word. And my email address is Marc, M-A-R-C, at probatecash.com. So that's
Okay.
MARC at probatecash.com. My business phone is 561 476 0018. 561 476 0018. And then my cell number, I'm always traveling around, and so I always leave my cell number. I've not been one of those people where I feel like I need to hide my cell number, although
My
occasionally,
cell number.
eh,
Oy.
occasionally I regret it. Yes, there are a few
Yeah.
times I go, oi. So, but my cell number is 310 734 9437. 310 734 9437. It doesn't matter where the property is, by the way. So if your loved ones died in Texas, in Dallas, that's where the probate's going to be opened up. And even if they have property that may be in Arkansas or Louisiana or wherever, that'll still be sold, and the money from that will go into the Texas estate.
Okay. That's good to know too, right? Because people have multiple properties. It's where the deceased permanently resides,
Yes,
correct?
correct. And
Okay.
yeah, so then you're going to be in that probate process. So it's and look, I'm here to talk. What one of the things also is even if you don't think you need money right away, but just have a couple of questions or need a referral for a probate attorney in your area of the state, we work with lawyers throughout Texas and the rest of the country. We also work with then folks with realtors throughout Texas and the rest of the country. We work with folks who will come and clean up the house, junk removal companies, auction companies will be the ones to help break the bad news to you that mom's keepsakes that were all these unique, valuable antiques that are priceless, or actually you can put a price on them and you're not going to be happy with
And it's $1
it.
if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
So,
so yeah, we're happy to have those conversations. At the end of the day, this is all about getting to the right result and helping folks who just they weren't prepared, and they're going to need a little bit of money to get through this, and that's where we come in. And we trust me, we have the incentive, just like any beneficiary, to make sure everything goes smoothly.
yeah.
Otherwise, we're not going to
Yeah.
get repaid.
You're
And
not going
so,
to get paid. So,
right,
right.
yeah,
Exactly. I mean, there's a definite incentive to see this through,
sure,
right?
and
In the most efficient way possible.
yeah, and once we're involved in an estate, we're of course I have an army of paralegals, underwriters who are monitoring the estate, and so if you're not getting a call back from your sibling who's the personal representative or from the attorney who's handling the estate, call me because I know exactly what's
Yeah.
going on in the estate. I can give but we talk about managing expectations. I can say, all right, well, there's still another 30 days left in the claims period, so if no claims are filed and after those 30 days, then you can start wrapping it up. It may be about 2-3 more months before you get your inheritance.
So
um,
it's like you're like a case manager almost.
Absolutely.
It's like we've got this probate case and I'm just going to be the manager of that and got my fingers in it and are on the pulse of it anyway. Like you said, you can look at it and say, well, there's 30 days left in the claim period. So nothing's happening until that's been completed. Then the courts will go on to the next step.
Yeah, absolutely. And so most issues in life or most problems occur because people aren't prepared or they don't
Yeah.
have knowledge. And that's, that goes back from taking your first exam in school to whatever exams you take to, health preparation, do you get your dental cleanings or are you just waiting until you get your cavities? Are you, you go to the doctor for pre-check or are you just waiting to get the bad news? So, I mean, that's all these kind of things. And probate is like anything else. The more you know before as a person who will be dying one day and who will have beneficiaries, the better it is for everybody. And when nobody has any idea about the probate process and mom's passed away, dad's passed away, it's all brand new to them and it's scary and people
and frustrating and aggravating and
costly. You need money
and costly. And
people
costly.
don't like to talk about money when someone passes away, but you know what? That's the banks
it costs money
want
to die.
Yeah.
It costs money to die. We Are One Heart is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to bridging the gap between the needs and resources of low-income seniors and veterans. Rooted in compassion and love, our mission is to provide housing, living assistance, and access to critical resources that ensure dignity and support for the elderly in underserved communities. At the heart of We Are One Heart's work is the belief that every individual shares a common humanity, a heart connected through love and care. We are committed to creating a future that honors those who have shaped the past by offering programs and services that enhance their quality of life. For more information or to donate, visit wa1h.org. That's wa1h.org. Somebody's gonna have to pay it.
And it costs
right?
more money if it's not done properly.
Right. Right. And that's what this whole show is about, right? On this show, we talk about everything from this kind of thing to staying healthy, to dating once you're older, to all of this. And it's all about just the education of it so that people realize what they don't know. Like you said, it's like you don't know how to, until you learn it, you don't know it. And there's nothing wrong with not knowing it, but let's take the initiative to learn it and do something about it.
Absolutely. And and knowledge is power and understanding and conversation. It's just like that's really where I see it is good people, good families who have done a great job for decades mess up the end part of it. And that is they're quiet about the end of life. They don't talk about the will, if there is a will. They don't discuss what happens next. I mean, there's no reason not to bring your beneficiaries in to meet the attorney who's going to be handling the probate. And to say, all right, here's how it goes, and here are the expectations. Here's the time frame. So, if you were planning to go on a cruise with mom's money 2 weeks after she passed away,
you're not.
Don't pay a non-refundable fee. So. But that's okay. Like we all grieve. Yeah. It's more fun to grieve on the high seas than anywhere else. So
that's right. Absolutely. Well, Marc, thank you so much for spending the time with us today. We're going to make sure all that information on how to reach out to you is in the show notes. If you have questions, make sure you go to his website. Probate is a thing. It's a big thing, and it's different in every state. And I think it's really important to understand what the estate laws and real property laws and probate laws are in the state where you are, because, what happened with your sister's brother's cousin, whatever, in Kansas is not going to be the same as where you are. So I think that's real important.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, Robin, for having me. I really enjoyed it, and good luck to you and all your listeners. It was really fun to be here.
Good. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. Go get your will. Go get an attorney, get your trust, get your stuff in order so nobody else has to deal with it. So thanks again for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so we can keep sharing the good word, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to Embracing Life After 60 with me, Robin McCoy. This podcast is produced by Jen Sariano with special thanks to the amazing team at Relax I Got This. You can find more episodes on YouTube and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, follow, and share to help us spread the message. Until next time, keep embracing life to the